What's up, my dudes? Mr. Piboso popping off, bro. So we got the MX Bikes Beta 10. I'm really shocked that this came out this quickly. Usually the betas are few and far between for MX Bikes, but this came out November 22nd, 2018. So you guys know I just made my video on the Beta 9. So we already got us another Beta 10 here. So we got a lot of different changes that I want to go through. And just letting you guys know, I'm doing all this live. I'm doing the gameplay live over here. And I'm looking at my phone trying to figure out all of the patch notes. So bear with my actual gameplay here a little bit, right? Okay, so let's just go down through it. So number one is rear wheel gyroscopic simulation. Had to say that really slow right there, make sure I get it all right. So basically this is you guys know the gyro, the wheel gyro type of thing from back in some of the old school MX versus ATV games. It's pretty much the same kind of thing. Obviously it's going to be more advanced in a simulator like this, but yeah, it's basically, just improvements to the way that back wheel feels. I think it definitely has something to do with, more so kind of how you're coming off the jump faces, just kind of how the back wheel reacts in that sense, and like getting on the back brake in the air and all that kind of stuff. I think it creates more of a movement in the actual bike when you're doing that now. So yeah, and you can tell that difference for sure. You can just feel it in the bike physics. And I just think the physics overall have been improved quite drastically in this update, man. This beta 10 update, like it really has. So I'm going to go down through some of these bigger fixes here to kind of explain how the physics have been improved in the game so that it makes a little bit more sense to you. But it's noticeable right away. I mean, going from the beta 9 to the beta 10, I mean, it's pretty much like instantaneously you're like, oh, thank God. The definitely a good physics improvement to it for sure, man. So, okay, let me slow down a little bit and look at my phone. Says improved the chain simulation. Okay, not really sure what exactly that's doing. What's interesting about MX Bikes is there's a lot of things to it that are very, very realistic motocross things that aren't really in MX Simulator. It's almost like they take it to a next level with MX Bikes, even though the physics system of it are not, obviously not anywhere near MX Simulator's physics. Just certain things like the gearbox simulation that they added in the Beta 9, and little things like, chain simulation improvements, being able to actually like pull tear-offs in this game and wipe your goggles off when the dirt gets on the lens. It's little things like that that makes MX Bikes what it is. It makes it something different than everything else. So it's just kind of cool. So either way, the chain simulation, I don't really know what the hell, how to even really explain that to you. And it's one of those things I can't really tell the difference on the bike per se. I don't play this game that much, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some kind of expert on MX Bikes because I don't play it every single day. I just play it whenever I make videos on it, which is like once in 10,000 decades. So, I barely play this game basically. So either way, I probably got like literally probably like 10,000th of the amount of time in this game as I do in MX Simulator. Like, no joke, or maybe even more than that. I mean, it's crazy when you compare the amount of time difference I have in these games. So the next thing, and this is a big one right here, okay, improved the automatic rider left and right leaning, okay? So this is something you'll notice really big when you get into this Beta 10. There's massive improvements with the just your turning in the corners and stuff, man. Like, you can tell there's more of like an actual dive in the corner effect now that wasn't really there before. And it feels really, really good in this game, man. I'm very impressed by it. That just makes me really want to play the game. You know how there was a bit of the buggy effect that's been in the game forever, where if you would like come up just a little bit short on a jump, or you'd overjump a jump by just a little bit, a lot of times as soon as you landed, your handlebars would do this like left, right, left, and then you'd crash real quick kind of thing. Some of you guys that have played this game will know exactly what I'm talking about, where, basically like, oh, getting a little swap right there. Pretty much like, it just had this bizarre kind of janky feeling to the actual leaning left and right, your turning left and right ability. Good God, let's not do that. Okay. So it's just been improved massively. I don't really know any other way to explain it other than just get on there and try it out for yourself. You'll see what I'm saying. Oh, I'm going to crash again. God dang it. Kind of like that right there. Obviously, I was whipped over there, but, and I even noticed this heavily in just the beta 9, man, where you would, oh, God, thank God I'm alive, where you would, come up just barely short. Like, you jump a tabletop like this, come up short, right? And it's like your handlebars your steering of the bike would instantly go into this, like, left, right, left really quick, and then you just fall off without really being able to do anything about it. You couldn't save it. And now it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you can actually save it if you overjump something by a little bit or you underjump something by a little bit. You have that ability to kind of manhandle the bike back around. That's just what it feels like to me. So either way, it's not only that little bug fix to me, but it's also just leaning in the corners in general. I feel like there's more of a leaning to it. You can lean sharper than you could have before. You can kind of get the bike turned over even more so. And it just has a better feeling to it overall. Basically, that's really the only way to explain it. It just feels more like a real dirt bike. Feels more natural. Doesn't feel so much like a buggy, something that's trying to be a simulator but isn't really figuring it out, right? It feels more real to me. Just feels smoother, better in a gameplay kind of sense. So either way, moving on, we've got a fix to multiplayer collision. So all these things I've went off so far have been just fixes, so they're not actually like totally new things. So I learned this from my beta 9. I know some of you guys commented on that video there and let me know some definitely some good stuff on that. And so, yeah, even some of you big custom content creators for this game have commented on my last video, letting me know some different stuff like the electric bike in the game and how to get that and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate you guys, filling me in on all that and let me know that there's been third person in this game forever and certain stuff like that. So, just wanted to shout those dudes out. But, yeah, so fixed to multiplayer collision. I've never even raced multiplayer in this game, so I can't say like how it was before and how it is now, but that's cool to see that either way, because I always know multiplayer collision can always be a bit of a biatch in these motocross games, especially simulators. They have a tough time kind of figuring that out. Even MX Simulator still has a little bit of an issue with that, a little bit of a tough time with that aspect. So another thing is fixed to pitboard in race. Okay, so maybe the actual pit board is now really showing up every lap like it's supposed to instead of just being this kind of random, not really always working all that great type of thing. So maybe that's a fix to that in some kind of way. A fix to flags in race. Okay, I'm not really sure if that's like, yellow flags, well, what all that actually entails there, but just a couple fixes to that. Not major things here, just more minor. Rider lean animations. Okay, this is another thing right here. So this is massive in my opinion, because even if you have all the physics in the world, but the animation with the rider doesn't look right, then it's not going to feel right. So it's a combination of animation and what it's physically actually doing that is making that sort of real bike feeling. So there's just something about, I would just encompass it in a total as just calling it physics. There's just an improvement to the physics, but it's a lot of different things. It's animations, it's automatic lean left right fixing, it's a lot of different little stuff like that just makes the bike feel better overall in general in every way. I don't know how to explain it. Just every way it feels better whipping, and I don't even think technically in this actual patch notes it even says that there's like been a massive fix to the whips or anything. But it makes the whips feel better just with that automatic rider, lean left, right type of thing, and just the overall physics improvements that have been in this Beta 10. It just makes the whips feel better, period. I don't really know any other way to explain it. Like that right there, I'm not getting fast enough over that jump. Even when you whip really, really hard, it still kind of gives you that automatic, almost like you're flipping over, you're kind of doing like a backflip instantly, so that is a little frustrating. It still does do that, but when you're doing like kind of smaller, medium style whips, it just feels better. you know, like whips like that right there, more that medium style. Here I am crashing. I've whipped like a total of 5 times in this game in my life, so bear with me. Yes, I do have a lot of experience in motocross simulators, but it's all of them are a little different, you know. See, like that right there, did you see how I just saved that? See how I was landing almost kind of sideways a little bit, but I was still able to kind of correct myself and I didn't just instantly fall down? That wouldn't have happened in beta 9. You know, there's more leniency to when you land just a little bit cockeyed and trying to kind of bring it all back together, or you overjump just a little bit. It doesn't just automatically blow your handlebars out of your hands, basically. So it still will do it when you really, really overjump something like it's supposed to. You know, if you do it like massively, it'll still do it, but it's just been improved all the way around the board. So either way, right boot onboard model affixed to that, okay, affixed to the added 250X, 450XF, and 450SM bike models, or model LODs, my bad, and then fixed to 450SM bike model, fix improved Maryland track, fix background rendering and high resolution screenshots. That's kind of cool. Background rendering and high resolution screenshots. So it's able to render when you get like, you know, super high res screenshots. I guess it just is affixed to kind of the backdrop to that. Basically is what it sounds like. So fixed to Mesa 3D shader errors. So that's a particular track, if I'm not mistaken, on here. Okay, so that was all the fixes. So let's move on to the... Dude, I'm like looking at my phone while I'm playing the game at the same time. Sorry, I'll probably look like I'm like my first day on MX bikes here. Apologize for my speed being a little lower. Just trying to... you know, look at my phone at the same time. It just, people are always on your ass on that. You know, oh, Spencer, you suck at this game. Why don't you try to actually figure it out before you start making videos on it? You know, people just are so harsh on anybody, on any game for that matter, when it comes to YouTube. Like, if you're not pro level, grade A at a game, people are not going to take your, they're not going to value your opinion. They're not going to think you know the game very well, which is understandable to a certain extent. But at the same time, you got to realize, man, some of these games take long times to learn, like it, and especially somebody like me that's playing so many different kind of motocross games all the time. Like, dog, I mean, if I sat down and just played this game for like 3 or 4 days straight, I mean, I would look like top tier in this game. And I ain't saying that in a cocky way. I'm just letting you know, if I wanted to, I could be top tier in this motherfucker, like instantly, pretty quickly, you know, but I just don't play the game enough to do that. You see what I'm saying? So don't look at it like, oh, this guy doesn't know anything about MX bikes. He sucks at this game or whatever. It's like, dog, I don't even play it. Like, you gotta understand the difference there. But I still like to cover it, still like to follow it, still like to, you know, look up what's going on with it, because it is the only other dirt bike simulator out there. So, okay, this is on the new things, okay? Change the bike lean control. So this is brand new and adds into the automatic left-right lean, like I was talking about before. This is probably actually really where that's coming in, the new leaning, like the dipping and diving into the corners, feeling like you can really carve out the corners better. Doesn't feel so buggy when you're turning in the corners. Just feels better, man. I don't know. It feels like you can actually turn sharp without it just twitching out and bugging out on you. That's just something I've kind of noticed with it. And you can really get on the gas in the corners, kind of spin your power around, you know, power out the bike, you know, hit the throttle, kind of do a Ryan Filippo, but spin the bike around with still keeping power on the ground. Basically, I've noticed when I was really kind of doing that last night, riding on this track, and really trying to pick up speed a lot more than I am right now. And I wasn't trying to talk in a video while I was doing it. I was noticing that where I was able to really get on the throttle pretty hard some of these corners, and you know, you can like spin it all the way around the corner and keep all your momentum flowing. So let's see if I can kind of do it here. So I start, see, you see I was starting to sauce it up just a little bit. Like if I stop trying to talk about what I'm doing and I start kind of focusing, I can get it going here. Oof, that's a triple. Okay, yeah. Oh god. Yeah, you can still spin the front end out, you know. You still lose your front end, but you just got to be careful. Woo, Betsy. See that right there? I don't think I could have saved that in Beta 9. I just simply don't think I would have been able to do that. So it has a bit of the game feels a little bit easier than it did before, but in a good way, like in a smoother way. So new spectator support, that's cool. And then new revised club track. So that's the track I'm on right now. So either way, man, that's beta 10. Definitely some really cool improvements. I always love when they're actually improving massive issues with the game and not just going there and kind of, doing filler fixes to it, right? Or things that don't really matter as much. You want to fix all of the buggy style issues before you go in there and try to just add random new cool stuff. You understand what I'm saying? You want to pinpoint down on the biggest issues with it, whether it's the whip view in first person, or it's the physics, or it's the leaning, or whatever. That's what you want to be fixing right off the bat. That's what you want to be putting all your time into. You want to get your physics down right before you start worrying about everything else, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Especially with a simulator like this, very, very important. That's what keeps people coming back and playing it. But, yeah, I hope to see more tracks for this game in the future. That's kind of one of the pitfalls with MX bikes right now. There's just not a whole lot of tracks for it, man. I don't know of any, Spencer Turley super unique, fantasy-style tracks in this game at all, or any huge jump tracks or anything like that. Everything's pretty standard in the game so far, even with the user-created content. There is that really cool James Stewart compound track, but other than that, most of the other tracks are pretty basic, man. They're pretty just standard style motocross tracks, which is okay. I just want to see more variation with tracks in the game. More cool, different kind of stuff to actually ride on in here. So that would definitely help improve the game as well. But who knows, man? MX Bikes, I could definitely see this making a lot of more MX Simulator players wanting to come to the game just with that better cornering feeling to it. And all that kind of, just improvements to that, not so much of a buggy effect, and just more people in general. I could see them getting into this game. I feel like this game in general is a little bit easier than MX Simulator. It's always harder for me to tell because, MX Simulator, whenever I learned that game, that was my first time learning a simulator, period. So obviously it's going to seem a little bit harder, whereas this game, I kind of know what the hell I'm doing with, certain setup, stability, this, that, and another. I can kind of figure it out, right, because I've already learned a simulator before. I feel like once you do it once, you kind of know what the hell you're doing when it comes to simulators. So I know that plays into a part of why this game feels a little bit easier, but I think it's just easier in general, period, anyways. There's a certain, I don't know how to explain it. It's got a certain just easier feel to it, and I think one aspect of that is just the stability aspect of it. They don't really have the ability where you can really turn your stability super low without it getting janky, feeling on the physics system of it. But either way, I haven't really even tested enough with all the different setup stuff in the game to really, really know. I'm just kind of talking out of my asshole, and I'm not scared to admit it, but, I'm just saying it's not like MX Simulator in that kind of sense. So either way, man, you can throw you some cool little whips like that and somewhat bring it back around. Oh, okay. So yeah, dude, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I've got a couple more little video ideas to make on MX bikes, and I'm going to be trying to cover all different kinds of games and motocross games, stuff like that. I know you guys really enjoy it because it's something different. You can actually be like, oh, thank God, not another same exact kind of video Spencer makes every single day. It's nice to, throw a little variation in there, a little change up. So, but yeah, that's what I'm going to get to. So either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, my dudes.